you had to be a little patient at times, right? And trust the process. That everybody, everybody says, let the process, work itself out. But I'm not trying like if someone could take 5 weeks, I'm not trying to. I want to do it in 1 week.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of Mick Unplugged. And today we have a story full of emotion, full of grit, and full of resilience. We're talking to a guy who survived 2 plane crashes, lost his immediate family, and still earned a scholarship to play Division I basketball at the University of Michigan. His journey from tragedy to triumph is one that you're going to want to hear. When I think of Austin Hatch, I think of toughness, I think of faith, I think of resiliency, but more importantly, I think of an overall just good human being. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the guy, Mr. Austin Hatch.
Uh,
Austin, how you doing today, brother?
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the introduction. Thanks for your kind words. Really appreciate it.
Nah, absolutely, Austin, man. I usually start with one question for all my guests on Mick Unplugged, but I know your story. I've been a follower of yours for over 10 years now. When I ask you, Austin, what's your because? What's that thing that's deeper than your why? What's your purpose today? What would Austin Hatch say his because is?
Well, I think it's been my wife for going on 7 years now, right? Honor her. Do my best to lead our family. We have a 2.5-year-old son named Hudson,
Hudson, yes,
and we have
sir.
a 5-month-old daughter named Marley. And they're my they're my why now. They're my purpose. They're my because, right? And it's yeah.
Yeah,
It's I think the big thing about that is remembering what that is for you. We all have a different purpose, a different why, a different because, right?
yeah,
But I think always remembering it is important because when things get really tough, if it's just for us, we'll probably throw in the towel, give up. But if we remember
right.
that greater purpose, that why, that like I think we'll always be willing to do what it takes to
Yeah,
overcome. So
totally agree, man. And specifically, I wanted to ask you that question, man. Again, just knowing your story, knowing the triumph, the tragedy, and everything in between. To survive, and I don't think people understand the magnitude of this, to survive 2 plane crashes. And in those 2 plane crashes, the first one you lost your mother, your siblings, the second one you lost your dad and stepmom, right? Like the magnitude of that, how did Austin Hatch keep going, bro? When most people that's not really gonna be the thing. Like, how did Austin Hatch keep going?
well, I think after the first one, when I tragically lost my mom, Julie, my sister Lindsay, little brother Ian, um, obviously devastating loss, incomprehensible loss, but um, my dad led me through that, right? And I don't know how he did it, to be honest with you, but he kept going, he kept living, and obviously it was there was some grief and adjustment, and but we that wasn't the end of the road for us. It was obviously a terrible loss, a terrible tragedy, terrible circumstance, but we still had life to live, and we felt that we could honor our family in heaven by how we loved each other and kept living our life. And um, life was good. And he was remarried a couple years later. Then had a great blended family, and didn't replace
Mhm.
what we lost, obviously, but it was great
Yeah,
to have a mom and siblings at home again. And then tragically, the second plane crash happened 9 days after I accepted a scholarship to play for Michigan. And
yeah,
I was in a coma for 2.5 months, and I, by the grace of God, came out of that coma. And I had so many people who were there to support me, right? And
yeah.
who they did it out of the goodness of their heart. And and Coach Beilein too. He made it clear to me that he was going to honor his commitment to me. And so I felt I owed it
Mm,
to him too, right? To make the best
yeah,
recovery that I could and try to, get as much of my ability back as I could, which obviously I was not really able to get much of anything back, but Coach stayed true to his commitment. And I think from a leadership standpoint, that principle um, of following through on our commitments all the time, no matter the task, no matter the circumstance. I feel like if we're known as that kind of a person, um, who wouldn't want to give everything they have for that kind of a leader? So But yeah, back to your
Yeah.
question though. There wasn't really an option. Well, I mean, there definitely was, but it's like
Yeah.
I had, okay, I want to. I mean, I'm coming out of a coma right now. I can't walk. Coach Beilein's going to honor his commitment to me and have me a part of the team at Michigan. Okay, well, I got some work to do. So,
Yeah.
it's like, what do they say? Every day you either get better or you get worse, right? So I just try to take every single day, use that as an opportunity to get a little bit better. Walk one a little bit further, do a little bit more wall push-ups, do a little, like, get my balance a little bit better. Just one day at a time. Just try to get a little bit better. So,
Yeah. No, I love that. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And I would say, especially in today's era, in today's society, if you're not getting better, you're falling way
mhm.
behind, right? Austin, another question for you, man. So you were given a second chance twice, right? Like, how do you stay grounded in gratitude with that?
Well, I think gratitude, I'm not going to say that could solve every issue on the planet, but if everybody in the world had a lot more gratitude. And here's the thing, it's not hard to have gratitude, right? It's just a
Right.
choice to look for the good, look for the positive, look for the opportunity, focus on
Yeah.
the blessings, right? And it's like, man, if you because here's what I found. It's obviously we all have reasons to be negative, right? You do, I do, people watching, listening, everybody has reasons to be negative, right? And we're all human. And of course there are times when I'm negative. Of course there are times when you're negative, I'm sure, when things don't go our way, whatever. But coming back to gratitude though, it's impossible to be truly grateful and very negative at the same time. It's
Mm,
impossible, right? Those two emotions can't coexist. You can't be, oh man, what a beautiful family I have. What a great life. What an amazing situation. We're so blessed. How lucky are we? You're still probably dealing with something that's not going great, but you can't
yeah.
really dwell on that when you're focusing more on the good. And
Yeah.
so I just choose not to ignore the negatives, not to ignore the challenges, but why not spend more time and energy looking at what's going right, and looking at the positives. Like for me, obviously, it's so terrible what I've lost, in my whole immediate family and everything, and it's so sad. And I can't. I hope to see him again someday. I think I will. And but it's like, man, my family here, like it doesn't get any better than this. My wife
Yeah.
Abby, our two kids. Hopefully, my wife wants 4 or 5, so I think we're going to compromise and have 4 or 5 kids. Right? But yeah, so it's like, man, how good life is so good here. Obviously, that
Hmm.
doesn't mean I don't remember my family and don't acknowledge the loss,
Yeah.
but it's hard to be overcome by it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, so I have two friends who lost two different friends, not the same family, who each lost their parents at a young age, both somewhat tragically. And one of them also lost a sibling as well. And
I'm so
and
sorry.
they each yeah, they each told me or tell me, Mick, it became really hard for us to want to get close to people because we felt like if we got close to someone, we might lose them. And the hurt of losing family is really tough, like especially at a younger age when that's traditionally not supposed to happen.
Mhm.
Is that something that you went through? Like getting close to people, like wanting to be around people. Like what was that like for you or what is that like for you?
Yeah, well, for me, kind of the opposite is true for me. I just love people. I love relationships. I'm just so
Mm,
grateful again, and obviously I'm so
yeah,
sad and what I lost and everything. But my family still impacted me to this day, and
yeah,
but yeah, I'm just like so. I love. Yeah, not to just completely shut down your point, but just for me, I
yeah.
never dealt with that. Um,
Okay.
I just, my fan. I had so many people, like especially after both plane crashes, but especially the second one when I was almost killed. I had so many people out of the goodness of their heart made sacrifices to be there for me, right? Like
Yeah,
maybe it gave them some gratification to like, oh yeah, I want to be here for this guy Austin who went through a terrible tragedy. I want to make sure I'm there for him, make sure he knows I'm there for him. Maybe that made them feel good, but it was more for me, right?
yeah,
And I'm just like, man, like people that are willing to invest their time and give of their their talents and energy. And it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, I love people, and I'm so appreciative of everybody in any area of life who's had a role in my recovery in my life today. Like I had so many, like it took a village. The old saying, it takes a village, right? Like
Yeah.
for me, especially after the second plane crash, after both plane crashes, but the first one I had my dad there, right? The second one I didn't, and I had extended family, friends.
Hmm.
Unfortunately or unfortunately, my story was pretty public for better or worse. So I'm not going to say I had millions of people praying for me, but I think I had a lot of people praying for me.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I'm just so, again, I'm so grateful, and I
Yep.
love building friendships. So
There it is. No, I love that, man. And I want people to remember this as well. Austin had a basketball scholarship to Michigan, right? That means and Austin is from Indiana.
mhm.
Like some folks would say that's the hoops capital of the world. I'm a Carolina guy, so I'm a little biased to that.
Yeah.
But man, so let's talk about Austin the Hooper for a minute, because I don't want people to forget that story either, man. So
Mhm.
growing up in Indiana, one of the top high school players in the country, definitely in Indiana, man. So like let's go through high school. I think what your junior year, you average what, 23, 24,
So,
right?
so I got the second plane crash happened after my sophomore year of high school.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
freshman year was okay. Did I don't know, maybe 18 points, 9 rebounds,
Just okay.
something like that.
18 as a
I
freshman
think
in
I think
Indiana.
sophomore year was a little better. Maybe
Yeah.
24 and 10 or something.
There you go. 24 sophomore year.
Yeah,
Okay. I remember the stats. There
yeah.
you go.
Had a good game. Coach Beilein came to see me play against a rival school from across town who we'd never beaten, and it was packed gym, standing room only, and Bishop Lewis was the name of the school, and I'm from a Catholic school from across town, and yeah, had a pretty good game. I think I had 30 and 16, I think, and
A casual 30 and 16. I like
yeah,
it.
and coach like, and then so he wait because he wanted to see 2 years of good grades to prove that I could handle the coursework at Michigan, right? So
Yeah.
he got my transcript after the semester, and then he saw that he's like, cool, let's bring him to Michigan. And yeah, man, it was a dream come true. Dream come true.
Were there any other schools you thought about going other than University of North Carolina? I knew that was number one on your list,
Yeah,
but outside of UNC.
yeah, yeah. Well, University of Virginia.
Mm,
Coach Tony Bennett, great guy. Took a couple visits there. Um,
yeah.
Great guy. Um, Maybe went to Notre Dame a couple times.
Okay.
Um, I wasn't good enough to go to Duke. Um, but
Oh, you were good enough. You just
but
made a smart choice and not decided to
yeah.
go.
Like I said, yeah, went to camp a few years, and got to know Coach Collins. Played a little open gym with him a little bit, and he actually wrote me a letter um, after the second plane accident, um,
Mm,
and it was really touching that he did. And he was like, yeah, yeah, was excited to recruit you, but then yeah, then you jumped at that Michigan offer. But so, um,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think I wasn't good enough to play for Duke, but um, I think I could have been okay at Michigan. I could have been okay.
Yeah. No, for sure, man. So what did it mean to you for Coach Beeline to honor the scholarship that he had given you after the crash, after the second crash?
One of the things that I talk about, so I speak for a living now, right? Which maybe we'll talk
Yep.
about more in a minute.
Yep.
Um, I talk about integrity. Um, and the way I define integrity, of course, is doing the right thing when no one's looking. Very important, obviously. Um, but I think it's also following through on our commitments, even when circumstances change, or I should say, especially when circumstances change, right? So, as I mentioned earlier, June 15, 2011, I think coach thinks I'm going to be able to help the team on the court at Michigan by scoring and rebounding, playing defense, things like that. He offered me a scholarship. Dream come true. We committed to each other that day. A scholarship at Michigan over 4 years is about $1 million, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
And that second plane crash happened 9 days later. I might not survive. I come out of the coma, can't walk, might never walk ever again. I'm in a wheelchair, right? He comes to see me, and he basically said, I can't wait to have you on my team someday. Whenever
Wow.
you become play for me at Michigan, man, I can't wait to coach you. So his follow through and his commitment didn't depend on the circumstance, And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's like, and so Coach Beilein changed my life forever, right? He doesn't follow through on the scholarship. I don't go to Michigan. I don't, he doesn't follow through on the scholarship offer. I don't go to Michigan. Don't meet my wife. We don't have our kids. I don't get the education there. I don't, So like, he changed my life. And
Yeah.
for anyone listening, maybe your commitment, following through on it, is not going to change somebody's life, but maybe it does. Maybe it will. Right? You don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, it could, and it may seem small to you, but it's probably big to them.
The
And
impact.
um,
The impact.
so
Yeah.
my thing is I think so. Here's the thing, though. A lot of people make commitments every day, right? Everybody
Yeah.
does, but not everybody follows through on every commitment, especially when the circumstances change. So I think following through on our commitments when there's a change in circumstance is doing a common thing in an uncommon way. And
Mm.
doing the common things in an uncommon way, I think it's going to leave people better than we found them. That's really the goal. That's my goal, at least. My goal is I just try to leave people just a little bit better than I found them, right? Wherever I go. So quick
Yeah.
story. So my dad, my hero, miss him every day, obviously. My whole family, of course, but learned so much from my dad. Still learning from him to this day. And he would drive carpool 2 days a week on Wednesday and Friday from
Mm.
2005 to the spring of 2011, before I could drive myself to school. We'd stop at this McDonald's on the way to pick up my buddy and his little sister at their house. And instead of just getting the food and driving away, my dad would take an extra 2 or 3 seconds to interact with the guy at the pickup window. Josiah was his name, who would give us our food. And my dad would just take 2 or 3 seconds, say, appreciate you, man, praying for you and your family. Make it a great day. Look forward to seeing you next time. Right? Very small. A family friend of mine told me last summer that cashier from McDonald's on DuPont Road in Fort Wayne, Josiah was at my parents' funeral after my dad and second mom died in the second plane crash. He was at their funeral, right? And
Mm.
maybe he would have gone to any person that came to McDonald's regularly. Maybe he would have gone to all their funerals. Probably would have. But I think because he felt he should honor my dad's life and his legacy, because my dad left him a little better than he found him by doing a common thing in an uncommon way. So
Yeah.
I think we can all do that. We can all do that.
I love it. I love it, man. So let's go from Michigan to speaking, but in between speaking, you had a corporate job at Domino's, right?
Did yep.
And you created something that I've been following and implementing for a while now, your grit framework.
Mhm.
Let's talk to the viewers and listeners about Austin Hatch's grit framework, man.
Yeah. So um, I think a lot of achieving our goals in life, obviously, we need to rely on other people for support and help, and other things have to happen to, the market's got to be in, there's all this other business stuff. But
Yeah.
I think it all comes down to grit. I think it all comes down to grit. And um, Angela Duckworth, really smart lady at, the Wharton Business School, University of Pennsylvania. My friend,
Mhm.
not, Wharton's not Michigan, but, it's a pretty good school, obviously. And not North Carolina either, but,
Yeah, it's
um,
not UNC, but
yeah, whatever. But so she says that grit's passion and perseverance for the long term vision, for your long term goals. That's true. I think grit does apply to the long term. For me, I think about my journey going from a coma to playing for Michigan. That's a long term goal, right? That's like you're trying to get going from the first floor to the top of the Empire State Building, and you got to take the stairs. It takes grit to
Yeah.
get there. That's long term. That's, whatever, it's a couple hundred flights of stairs or whatever. Right? It takes
Yeah.
grit to get there, but for me, grit was every day, because how could I
Mhm.
expect to achieve the long term goal if I wasn't winning one day at a time? So I think grit's a little more specific than just hard work for the long term goal. So it's 4 letters, 4 key components to it. But first and foremost, I think it's driven by a greater purpose. I think we need to be driven by something bigger than ourselves: faith,
Yeah.
family, friends, teammates, colleagues, your organization, you're part of, whatever your purpose is. I just think we got to be driven by something bigger than ourselves. that'll drive us just to be willing, just to be willing. Because it was just for us, it'd be nice if I overcame this challenge or bounced back from this adversity, but it's only really for me. So it's going to require too much time and effort and sacrifice. I'm not sure it's worth it, right?
Mm,
But if it's for a greater purpose, whatever that is for you, I think we're always going to be willing. We're always going to be willing to do what it takes. So purpose drives grit, the G, the growth mindset. Adversity is opportunity. There's no opportunity in the adversity itself, right? Nobody grows from losing a game in sports. Nobody grows from losing a deal in business or having a tough week or quarter or year. Nobody grows from that. But we grow by how we choose to respond. It's a choice to look for the opportunity. It's a choice to have the growth mindset. And the reality is, though, a lot of people choose to have the victim mindset. You can choose
mm,
that. More people choose that, though. I didn't deserve this. How much easier would life or business be if conditions
yeah.
were good or whatever? If my family was good, why are they making my life so difficult? Okay, well, you could have that mindset, but why not choose the growth mindset? Choose to look for the opportunity. So the R is the decision to be resilient. And I don't think you're resilient if you overcome your challenges. I think overcoming challenges and adversity is a result of being resilient. I think you're resilient if you take action, absolutely massive action in the face of challenge and adversity. My dad, he always said, "Oh, go big or go home, man. Go big or go home." And that's what resilience is to me. Like I said, you're not
Mm,
resilient if you overcome your challenges and achieve your goals. I think you're resilient if you go big in the face of adversity, if you take massive
yeah.
action. So the I is integrity. Of course, integrity is, as I said earlier, going about our business the right way, um,
Mm,
doing the right thing and no one's looking. Obviously, very important. But
yeah.
but in addition to that, I think it's following through on our commitments, especially when circumstances change, right? And
Yeah.
people giving people our word and staying true to that. Like I said with Coach Beilein, we committed to each other June 15th. He just gave me his word. There's nothing signed, no documents or anything. He just said, "Austin, I want to have you on my team. So I want to have you on my team at Michigan." And then I said, "Coach, I'd love to come play for you." Like
Yeah.
literally, the conversation was 2 minutes, and
Wow.
like there was nothing formal, nothing, nothing signed, nothing that made him feel obligated. Like he was not legally obligated to do anything. But
Hmm.
I couldn't. I came out of the coma after the second plane crash, couldn't walk. Was probably never going to be able to play again. At least not the way that he would need me to play to help the team. But he said, "Yeah, I gave you my word, so it was a no-brainer. This is
Yeah.
what we do. We just follow through on our commitments at Michigan." So I think again, if we can all do that, we can all do that. So last letter of grits T. T's the team first mentality. The team first mentality. So as I said, I was blessed to be a part of the team at Michigan 4 years, and I actually put myself in the record books there. Believe it or not. I'm the all-time lowest scoring full scholarship athlete in program history at Michigan. I scored 1 point in 4 years. 1 point in 4 years, right? So I'm
Yep.
definitely the all-time lowest scoring full scholarship athlete, but I was on the team, so I had a role, right?
Yeah.
Be a great teammate, shag balls in practice, help with drills, rebound and shoot on before games, unload luggage on road trips, work hard every day to be the best that I could be. And here's what I learned. So my wife was a three-time All-American volleyball player at Michigan.
Mm,
She was the best on her team 3 of the 4 years. Her freshman year, there was an All American setter, a senior All American she was the best that year. But sophomore, junior, senior year, my wife Abby was the best on her team. I was not, obviously. Even though I wasn't the best on the team, I could be my best for the team, right? I think we can all do that again. We may not be the
yeah.
CEO or team captain or president or headmaster, principal, whatever. We may not be the best on the team. We may not be the most important person on the team, but we can all make the effort every day to be our best for the team. So it's a very subtle difference. Best on the team, best versus best for the team. So again, I think if we can all just make the effort every day to be the best that we can be for the team, I think the team's going to win.
I love that, brother. I just wrote that quote down, man. Like that parallels so much, not just in corporate world, like you said, but in leadership too. Like understanding that as a leader, right? Like it's not about you, it's about doing what's best for others, and that's something that I speak about, and I know you do a lot with leadership and what you do as well. I want to go back to something you said early on about mindset, man. And I'm a big believer in mindset, but also a bigger believer in action and impact behind the mindset. But when you think of mindset, what are some of the daily habits or mental disciplines that the viewers and listeners need to start putting into practice?
I think it's for me and my goal is to build every day, build the business, build my family, build my marriage, build my like just grow. And
Mm,
I think I'll be totally honest with you. I don't have a checklist of three or four things that I go through every single day to make sure I do
mhm.
that. But it's just attacking life with a sense of urgency,
Yeah, man.
because here's what I've learned. Look, I'm only 30. I don't have that much experience in business or life yet, or family or anything. But you think back to sports too, right? Like the most urgent person usually wins. Usually, right? Like
Yeah,
if I think back in my own life, it's like, man, like if you say winning is achieving a goal, that's a win. And most of the times that I've won, it's because I really wanted it. I was urgent. I had some urgency to it, right? And it's like I
yeah,
think about my life now. It's like as a dad, I want to attack my role as a dad with some urgency. I
yeah,
want to attack my role as a husband with some urgency. I want to attack my role as the leader and provider of my family with some urgency. Like I want to attack my business with a sense of urgency, not like
yeah.
because you had to be a little patient at times, right? And, trust the process. Not everybody, everybody says let the process,
Mhm.
work itself out. But I'm not trying like if someone could take 5 weeks, I'm not trying to. I want to do it in 1 week.
Yeah,
I want to attack it with some urgency, and like
yeah,
maybe I'll get we can get our family where we want it to be in 10 years. I don't want to wait 10 years. I want to
yeah.
like be there like sooner than that. So I think attacking life
Yes,
with the
sir.
sense of urgency. And I think that applies differently for all of us in different ways. But I think that's a good
No,
one.
for sure.
It's a good way to live. Good way to live.
For, for sure. What's one principle that you live by today?
So for me and my family, there's three things that, and obviously our kids are really young. They don't understand this yet. Um, just for us, honor God, respect everyone, leave things in people better than you found them.
Yeah.
That's how we do it. And I'm like, obviously the faith is a big part of my family. But going back to that thing that I said about integrity, just
Mhm.
just trying to leave people everywhere you go, just trying to leave them a little bit better than you found them, right? Like, and
Yes,
I'm not,
sir.
I definitely don't do that all the time with everybody I ever interact with in the world, but like, man, you know what? If you at the end of the day, if you can look back on your day, and this is kind of a leadership self assessment too. If you think about it, like, who did I impact today? The more
Mm,
specific about that you can be, the better. Whether it was my obviously, your family probably, but even
yep.
maybe even beyond that, if you had a call with someone, if you closed the deal, if you had an opportunity to collaborate with somebody else, think just who did I impact today, and how will I be remembered by the people that I work
Mm,
with today? Who did it impact,
love
and how will I be remembered? And I think if you can answer both of those questions in the positive sense, if you can say, yeah, I impacted these people, or well, it's not really up to us to whether they say whether I impacted them, but like, you kind of feel it, right? If you think and obviously it's not up to us to say, yeah, I left you better than I found you. I definitely did. Like, of course, that's not us, but that's not on us to say that. But if you can think in your mind, right? If you can honestly give yourself a good grade on that,
it.
like if you can honestly tell yourself, yeah, I left some people better than I found them today. If you can
Yeah.
string
Love
a
it.
lot of days like that together, man, I think you're going to be in a good place. I think you're going to be in a good place.
I love it, man. I love it. All right, Austin, you're a Michigan guy. I'm a Carolina guy. We're going to go starting five all time. Your all time Michigan starting five against my all time Carolina starting five. Who you got as your starting five at Michigan all time?
Okay. So you could obviously go back to the Cassie Russells, but that was before my time. I never saw him play. I know he was good,
Okay.
Um,
So we're gonna do it people that we saw play. Is that gonna be the caveat?
yeah, yeah, yep, yep,
Okay. Okay. Cool.
okay,
Cool. Cool.
yeah.
Got it.
Okay, so I'm gonna say Trey Burke, point guard.
Okay. Yep.
Trey Burke, point guard. I'm gonna say, hmm, yeah, you could. I think Karis LeVert as the
Okay.
two guard.
At the two. Okay.
Karis, my friend Karis played. Yeah, you could do. Gosh, who could you do? Um, who could be three, four? Well, yeah, because now I'm thinking Trey Burke, Karras. Let's go. I think Tim Hardaway could play the three. He's kind of a two. He could play a three.
Yeah. He's tall. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's got a
he
three.
could he could he could play three.
Okay.
Four. Um, maybe no. I'm scratching. I'm gonna do Trey Burke. Okay, Trey Burke, Karras, Tim. Let's go. Mo Wagner
Okay.
at the four. My friend Mo. Um, I never saw Chris Webber play, but I think he was good at the five. Maybe Coach Howard is in there too somewhere. Maybe Juwan Howard's in there too.
Juwan Howard at the five.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
So no Jalen Rose, no C Webb. Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
okay.
But you didn't see them
I
play,
didn't see
so
him
I
play.
got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So you got Michael Jordan in here somewhere. He's two.
Oh, yeah. So I'll give you. So if we're going guys that we saw play at UNC or at Carolina,
Yeah.
so that I saw play. So I'm gonna give you. Yeah, my point guard is that's. I have so many options at point guard,
Hmm.
but I'm gonna go to the OG Kenny Smith,
Yep. Kenny the Jet Smith. Yeah.
Kenny the Jet
Yeah.
Smith. So I've won the point guard
Mhm.
position.
You think Kenny the Jet or yeah.
I'm messing with
Yeah.
you. We'll let the listeners and viewers tell us who won
Okay.
this
Okay.
matchup.
Okay.
So I got Kenny Smith at the one. At the point, I got Jordan at the two. At the three, I'm gonna give you Vince Carter.
Yep.
At the four, I'm gonna give you Tyler Hansbrough.
Yeah.
Right. At the five, I got something special for you. So at the five, I got someone from Indiana. And you talk about grit. We called him Big Grit. So
Luke Zeller.
Eric Montross. It's before your time. Big Grits, Eric Montross.
Yeah. Isn't
Yeah.
there?
Tyler Zeller was
Tyler.
there.
It was Tyler.
Yeah.
Luke was at Notre
Yeah.
Dame. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll let the viewers and listeners say who's all
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
five.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So yeah, you might have me in the one. Yeah, obviously, Michael, you have me in the two. Who was your three? Vince
Vince
Carter.
Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tyler Hansbrough.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Mo versus uh Jawan Howard. That's Jawan Howard versus Big Grits, Eric Montross.
yeah.
I'll give you one matchup, but they did it in the championship game and we
Well,
walked
well,
away
well,
victorious.
well, well, well. Another thing, though, I never saw Coach Howard play when I was. I mean, I was super young.
Yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah,
born in '94, so the
yeah.
Fab Five was
That
around
was
then,
that
right?
was his senior year.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was his senior year at
yeah,
Michigan. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Or junior year at Michigan, my bad.
mhm,
Okay.
yeah,
I do think we won. I do think you guys struggle scoring with us because we're a fast paced up and down the court team.
yeah.
We got Jordan and Vince catching alley oops all
Yeah,
day. Tyler Hansbrough in the second half is just gonna say, "Give me the ball and dominate."
yeah,
And Eric Montross is sending everything back to half court,
yeah,
blocking every
yeah.
shot.
Okay,
So
okay, okay. Well, you know what? Maybe we'll. Okay. How about this though? How about this though? So post 2010.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, see, because
Ooh.
all the good guys that I know are like
Yeah.
Trey, Tim, Karras.
And the game changed, right? There's not really a 5 post 2010, like,
No.
not like when I grew up in the '80s and '90s where you had a dominant center that
Yeah,
just got in the block and stayed there,
yeah.
like, now center is a point guard
Yeah, well,
almost.
not yeah, well, now if you're 6'10 plus and you can't shoot a 3, you're probably not gonna play,
Right,
which is crazy.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, we gotta come back to post 2010
yeah,
because I do have some I'm still gonna win the point guard game, though,
yeah.
because point guards, that's what we do. Roy Williams was that guy with the point
Uh-huh,
guard. So
uh-huh.
so, but you probably got me in some other spots. You probably got me in some
Yeah.
other spots.
No,
Yeah,
for sure, man. Well, hey, yeah, appreciate you having me on, man. Great to spend some time with you. Enjoy the conversation, and yeah,
absolutely,
look
man.
forward to seeing
Definitely.
it
So,
whenever it's published or released.
oh, for sure. And we're gonna get some one-on-one time too, man. I've got some events coming up. I'm gonna get with Rose over at Players for Good and probably get you to speak at least one of my events this fall.
Oh,
So
awesome.
definitely, definitely gonna do that. If you could leave the listeners and viewers with one thing, man, what would that be?
Um, Part of it, honoring my dad's legacy for me, right? Um, do the common things in an uncommon way, and try to lead
Mm,
people in places a little better than you found them, wherever we go.
I I love it, man. I love it. Where can people follow and find you?
So I'm on LinkedIn, just Austin Hatch. Um, I mean, I can send you my contact info, or
Yep,
anybody can email me. Austin at austin-hatch.com is my email. Would love to hear from anybody. Would love to. I would not love an opportunity to share my story and message about grit and thriving in the midst of adversity.
yep.
And if there's anything else that I can do to serve or contribute in any way, don't hesitate to reach out.
You got it. Austin, brother. I appreciate you spending some time with me today. Honored to talk with you and hear more about you, man. Like, so very touching. Just honored that you spent some time with me today, brother.
No, I appreciate you having me, man. Thanks for the time. Look forward to staying in touch, and would love to an opportunity to collaborate sometime in the future.
You got it. And for all the viewers and listeners, remember your because is your superpower. Go unleash it.